sustenance crops, doing that in a proper park quickly is not realistic, because we cannot go through the process of allowing something that big in a formal park master plan, because we don't have any ability to process anything like that right now in the immediate, within the next few months, because of the mayoral or the governor's order. We're in a state of only can bring things to the council that are very routine and necessary. And anyway, I think we could do something that's kind of a long-term thing we could explore at, and I'd look forward to seeing the properties that you've identified. Where we could do some things now are places that already either are right-of-way or are, we own some property, the city owns it, that are not actual parks. There's a big parcel at the top of 40th and Elwood that has some real potential. We also have to, whenever we do anything on city property, we need one entity to take on the organization of it and be the contact and enter into a contract with the city. And so right now for the new garden space in Fairhaven, that's been Laura Plout and Common Threads Farm. So I think that I really appreciated, Brian, your list of these, and then with the additional 5th one from Jacqueline. I think that was a great synopsis of the different concepts that we have going on. And I think that from the Parks Department perspective, the two things I would like to focus on now are getting stuff into random gardeners' hands and giving them the expertise and the help to start gardening now. And I'm actively pursuing that. And then doing a couple of locations for these larger staple crops that could be donated to the food bank. And that would be more of a ag crop project. It wouldn't be, I think it would be a lot simpler if we could do it with a group that and write a contract in a way to use city property to do that with facilitating the use of machinery, and not have it be such a teaching moment, but more of a food growing entirely for the purpose of donating to the food bank, kind of more of the fall winter staple crops. And then the other items, community garden expansion, we are doing that one. I think we can work on some ideas over the next few months. But I also have, well, that's where I'm at. I'd like to work on getting stuff into random gardeners' hands and the larger staple crops from a parks perspective. I think those are two things that I could accomplish this year. And then looking at the right-of-ways, I really liked your idea of having neighborhood associations adopt, maintain, and harvest fruit or food trees. Our biggest problem with those types of trees is that people don't do that. And maybe now, with this crisis, we have a renewed interest in that. But what happens with those trees is they make a big mess, and then people complain. And so we don't permit fruit trees typically in the right-of-way street tree plantings, and that's what Parks is responsible for. We do have some larger right-of-ways that are unused, that are just mowed lawn. I've looked around the city and tried to figure out which ones might have some potential, because if they're right-of-ways, they don't have the same the whole deal about parks is that every park has its own master plan, and to just say that it's super easy and why can't the city just cut the red tape and add a community garden to every park, it's not as easy as that sounds. There is policy guidance to expand community gardens, but Greenways has funding available to support community gardens. We're exploring community garden strategies and needs. And I think, again, this is an opportunity to try and make some of this stuff happen. But I have to focus in order to get things done. I can't explore all 5 of these items in order to get any of them done quickly in time to actually result in real gardens for people this year that will help them meet their food needs as this crisis continues. There's my little speech.
I'd like to step in on a couple of points that you made, Nicole. One is that Tom Anderson, who used to be, I think he was the head of the PUD years and years ago. When the PUD built a new building, they put all edible foods around for their landscaping system under Tom's watch. And you might have a conversation with Tom about how he pulled that off and whether it worked or not. The second is that this last weekend, the seed swap folks who have a lot of seed left over got together with the Chucknut Center and put together 500 envelopes of seed to give away. And it's currently, most of it is at the Chucknut Center, but it is ready, packaged and ready to give to people that are interested in gardening. We're especially interested in getting it in the hands of people that are having trouble getting seed. Many of the major seed companies right now are taking a 1 or 2 week break to catch up with their orders. They are into their reserve crops and are more slammed than they have ever been in their history. So that there's kind of this seed quasi-crisis going on because of the demand. And seed growers that I've talked to said this is not an issue of hoarding. This is just an issue of increased interest. That they're not receiving massive orders, they're receiving massive numbers of orders. So we have this quantity of seed ready to go to give to people. If you have a system to deliver any other form of encouragement for folks, we can support you with seed.
Nicole, is Bakerview an option? I know that doesn't fit the idea and the hope initially of having places allotted sort of in a regional balance throughout the city, close to neighborhoods. But again, we can work on that in the longer term. But in the near term, is the new Bakerview property a possibility of something
Yes.
online?
Yes. Because we just purchased that property, it's currently used for an ag use. It would be very easy to do something there. And that's one of the other ones that I would think we could do something big there. We would have access restrictions. We'd have to work with the nursery because that's the only way in. So it wouldn't be something that we could, you know, we also have to not bring a whole bunch of people anywhere to gather. So we'd have to work with a smaller group who knows what they're doing and what crops they want to plant and help put that together. But it's fenced. I don't think it has irrigation. So if we're talking about planting something for a sustenance crop, we could plant it later in the fall and have it be available at the beginning, you know, kind of a fall harvest, early winter harvest that would be donated. That could work without irrigation. That's the other problem, is water. And I'm not a farmer, so I that's where I want to work with a couple of people to try and explore this. And it sounds like, Brian, you and Paul have Paul's done some work on this.
Yeah, I just put a thing asking for your email, and I can forward his email to you, or Seth has that as well. But that was definitely one of his places he identified as a larger place. It's been in ag zoning.
Yep.
There's a big hay field there. It would be very easy and quick to transform that into some staple crops. You know, you can easily grow dry beans and corn and even potatoes with very little or no irrigation. So those are not out of the realm of possibility. to get in. Especially dry beans. Usually you get them in the ground once, and if it's in the next month or mid-May usually is when you get them in. There's some rains that get them germinated, and then they're off and going. It's totally doable. So and like you said, it wouldn't take too many hands on deck right there to do that. A concern would be the fencing. Like in that neighborhood, there's a lot of deer pressure and others. So looking at that, there's ways to mitigate some of that, but it's not out of the question. And that might be just, great. We try one, that's the low-hanging fruit. If we can get that moving forward, then all the rest of this, we can look at possibilities down the road. Like you say, you don't want to divide yourself too much up so nothing gets done properly. We want to focus on the low-hanging fruit and just get done what we can, and then look at longer-term strategies as we move along.
I have a question. I noticed that you use the word food bank as a beneficiary for general public who is really low income. I think our models are suggesting that a cooperative effort should mean that the people who are working the fields benefit themselves. Are you open to that? Or is there a restriction that everything grown on city property should go to the food bank?
I think that we could make some, we'd have to work out the details of what the license would allow. In my experience, as long as it's not being sold and it's donated, then we get around the whole commercial use problem that I had with a different entity that I was working with. So I think we could work something out, but again, I think we're talking about two different things. It depends on a larger staple crop thing. I don't know how many people would be working those fields or how that would work. I would rather have the volume of people, like a bunch of different people who get to grow and work and eat their food, be the people who have the space in their yard and the willingness to be taught or have some expertise come in and provide seeds like you mentioned, and even some tools if we needed, or some fencing, and have those people benefit from working it in their own yard and having the help to start a garden for themselves and be willing to do that on their own property. And then we don't have as many of those problems. But certainly whoever was going to work on this larger project, I don't know what that team looks like. I don't know who we would be contracting with to do that work. That's the stuff that I need, like a couple of people to work with to explore an agreement that would lay all that out. In our community gardens, everyone who works their own plot gets their own, the fruit of their labor. But community gardening is not the same thing as what I think we're talking about here. Some people garden for their own food, but many people garden for fun. And I think at this point, this initiative and the reason seeds are having a scarcity is a lot of people really want to be able to do this now. And what I think the city's role could be is to really provide a couple of key tools, fencing, seeds, information, getting the word out, and connecting people in very small groups to be able to grow their own food. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. Hello.
sorry, Bizuk, see if I could just respond to Nicole. So you are talking about people with backyards, but there is that sector we talked about of people who live in city apartments, who
Right.
who are kind of in the middle, who are actually in the middle of the crisis in a food shortage situation.
And I think that's why I think that the food bank is going to need a lot more growing. And I'm imagining that a lot of the farmers in our community are all going to be working to donate food. I know several people who garden in a rather big way and already donate hundreds of pounds of food to the food bank every year, but I'm hoping we can do some more PR campaign about how important that's going to be, figure out what the need really is. We don't know what the need is going to be because we don't know exactly how long this whole thing is going to last, or what people are going to be able to go back to work when. There's a lot of unknowns to plan for, but what we do know is we can tackle a couple of these things now. We're not going to, I don't believe that we can accomplish all 5 of your long-term goals in one season. So we have to break off what we can do in order to get something done. The one thing I know about working with the government is if you have too big of a holistic approach, you're not going to get anything done. So you have to focus and take off the piece you can chew. And I want to know from your group, you know, what the most critical way that the city can support these long-term efforts. And I think they're kind of what I'm saying, but that's what I'm hearing, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I totally hear you and respect that opinion. I think your track is right on. Like, yes, get seeds and support to people that have ground that can grow. You know, support the community gardens that exist already. Use the hashtag co-op gardens thing, and maybe the city can help promote the use of that, like an article or a statement by the city or something like that, so that people know it's out there as a resource. And I would like to see, you know, if we can move forward on the Bakerview property. One thought I just had is seeds are an issue. We could use that development of that space with a few people, maybe under contract, maybe there are already city employees, with some mentorship from other folks or whatever, or maybe, you know, a few other people would be pulled in to oversee that. But then that could be used mainly to grow seed out for next year. So, and then that seed would be in the city's control that then could be doled out to other people. So seed saving is a really big issue. There's only a few people here locally in Whatcom County that are actively pursuing that, that role. And right now it's a little bit, you know, some people have some things, some people have other things, but it would be a way to fill in some of the gaps. And then in the process of seed saving, you also have some seed that's, or, you know, grains, whatever, that's available for consumption. So then that could go to the food bank or whatever.
Okay.
So it'd be a way to integrate all of these things together and still pilot having a larger tract of land and seeing what can be done along those lines.
That sounds good.
This is Chris. I'd love to see a volunteer, some kind of a roster where we can sign up for programs that we're interested in. I would be very interested in the garden mentorship when you distribute garden packages.
I would also be glad to be a mentor.
So I'm going to give you my email address right now for you to write it down and send me your names and your contact information. And I'm going to be pulling together some of these people who are willing to. My daughter changed all my notification sounds on my phone, and they're all like they're all like medieval horns. Like every time I get a reminder, it's like a different medieval sound. It's very funny. So
Okay.
my email address is noliver@cob.org. No liver, hate liver. No liver at cob.org.
Okay. I have a thought that, can you hear me, Nicole?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. If you guys, you and Sage, if you want to come and visit our place, Cascade Cats, you know, we have a lot of pollinators, also herbs. And we were providing for a long time, about more than 4 years for the community, as well as Alaska, Spokane, Seattle people buying.
Yeah.
And but this time when I see this kind of situation, even previously I was having a dream that how I can work with community. So with this kind of things, as you know, I'm from Ethiopia. I know that how that means harvesting food. You know, when people is yesterday, when I see Texas news, it just makes me really cry because I know how is, you know, hungry people. I know it's not going to happen in America, but we don't know what is tomorrow. And I was really willing to give this greenhouse for our community. I am willing. And there is also 4-acre land I was renting, and I'm going to buy that land. And it was not used for the last few years. But there is water there, everything is ready. But if there is any volunteers want to come and start away, even I was thinking to start from our end, but we could not find any seed. But if it is community, or I know someone was talking, there is a providing a seed, there is water, there is everything is ready. If anybody want to start, including me, and I'm willing to give that land for the community. Also, if there is a way that there is a fund or something like that to grow for a community some food, and if I changing for the next year, instead of growing a lot of flowers, and if we can grow urban food right away, if that there is any kind of fund the city can provide, I am willing to give my greenhouse and continue growing some plants like that you would like to come and see the place, and I'm willing to give, but I don't know how I can work out together to balance, you know. I'm not looking any profit, I'm not looking anything, but just to work with you guys, how it's gonna work. I receive a lot for this community. I get a lot of privilege from America for many years for me and as well as for my country. And if there is anything we can do for the community, we are willing, you know, I'm really willing to do.
Okay.
Where is Cascade Cuts?
It is 632 Montgomery Road. It is Bakerview and James. It is in the city. It is very 5 minutes from everywhere, 10 minutes, I think, from the mall. 632 Montgomery Road.
Thank you.
Seth, this is Heather speaking. You might remember Cascade Cuts as a longtime nursery that Allison with the horticulture business and Tom ran for many years. So it's a very well-loved wholesale location.
Yeah. Yes, that is the place. I purchased the business 2018, and I was thinking to grow the way it is for the wholesale business. At the same time, I was thinking to expand with the food production with herb. I believe in, I work in healthcare, and I believe in, you know, healthy food greens and how maintain our health. And I was thinking to expand or to change it to the food and herbs production. But I just started the business 2018. But Paul and Allison, they're the one, they were running the business for the last 39 years. That's true.
Thank you. So what, I guess, I don't know if this is a Nicole and Brian question, but if there was a desire and an interest and motivation to make something happen on the Baker View, I guess we need feedback by some means, doesn't have to be right this minute, but as to whether or not there is enthusiasm for that now, then presumably there'd have to be some high level, we need to convene a working group to address that issue sooner rather than later, and explore that a little bit. So perhaps Nicole and Brian can have a brief conversation offline and just address what the needs would be, just sort of scope out, broadly speaking, what the needs would be and what that would look like initially. And then we could sort of formulate it into a plan of attack if that's the desire.
Yeah, I could speak to that. Paul put together some information and he went by and looked at the place just recently. He has some good suggestions on it, and I would like to bring Paul into the conversation too, because he just lives right down the road and you know, right next to Cascade Cuts. So it's in his neck of the woods. You know, what I would, we'd have to look at the fencing thing. You said there's no water, but there's a residence there, and there's probably, I would assume, city water that runs down the road somehow. I don't know what, you know, we just have to look at the water issue. Is it just minimal water or absolutely no water, or what the deal is? As far as, you know, irrigation, we're not talking about traditional big ag irrigation needs. It's like a garden hose kind of need. And then as far as what the city could do, I mean, I don't know, does the city have a tractor with a rototiller that they could like plow this up, or we need to contract out somebody to come do that, or rent one from hardware sales, or, you know, all these logistical things. I mean, that would be step number one, just get the ground worked up, you know, get some compost on there. We could probably pull in folks from Green Earth Technologies or grow stores to probably even donate, you know, compost material to just fast track it. You know, this could be highlighted as a community project, and we could probably pull in a lot of resources from within our community to help move this forward faster. Once the pathway is made clear for that in logistics and contracts, et cetera, et cetera.
It would be nice to have the Bakerview property and that wonderful off Cascade Cuts to be working as a team. It sounds like Cascade Cuts has better proven access to water, and the land has been used agriculturally before. And it might be a lot easier to work that piece of land, but perhaps that both can be looked at. And then with the idea of seed saving, they can be looked at in different types of crops.
Yes. Yeah.
Question, Nicole, what's the size of the Bakerview property?
The cleared area that doesn't have trees is bisected by a creek that has a buffer. So I would say,
If I can, I can screen share Paul's document to everybody so you can see what we're talking about. There's an aerial view of the property and he kind of spills out. So let me just screen share this. Go back to his document here.
Certainly an acre or two, right, Nicole?
oh yeah.
Would be available.
Okay, I'm going to start screen share. Oops. What's going on?
Brian, it would be nice to have your expertise as far as laying out a permaculture plan for it if it were going to be some permanent ongoing use.
Yeah, Yeah, both Paul and I are very, you know, we've done very extensive designs for other places. So that.
I'm sorry, you guys. I have a call, an urgent matter to attend to. So, Brian, I would like to follow up with you and Paul and come up with a plan. Keep in mind that I have to run a whole park department.
Yes.
So I need a whole bunch of bodies, and I can provide some funding and land, but I need other people to take this on. And our park employees are very busy, and I gotta go. So I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Can you put your email in the chat and I'll send this document to you?
Yep.
Because I'm not getting the screen share thing to work here.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. You're welcome.
Nicole.
Okay.
I have to get off. I have an 11 a.m. as well. I want to thank everyone for participating and your various generous offers. What is the name of the woman from Cascade Cuts?
Bizu, Bizu.
Bizu. Thank you so much. For your
May I have your number or your email? I can communicate with you.
Yes, I am SF Fleetwood, SM Fleetwood at cob.org.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you all. We'll be in touch. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I've been relatively quiet. I just wanted to chime in that I have, we have the Chuckanut Center property that is currently, I've got a couple volunteers who are working that for donation to the food bank, as well as putting in some staple crops. But and I've had a number of volunteers offer assistance in doing that. I'm just not really sure how to manage the social distancing and the planting and everything. But that is underway. And I did just, when I put together those seed packs, I did just put out to the gardeners, Whatcom County Gardener Group, that if anybody is in need of seed and cannot access seed, that I will be there on Tuesdays and Fridays from 10 to 2. And if people want to pick up seed, then I can provide seed. But it's just like small packets. It's home scale packets of seeds. It's not like big bunches. So there's still a lot more seed with Bill and Virginia, I think.
Yeah.
So the seeds are still there, but what I have in my possession are, 500, a few less packets of small home scale seeds that we can distribute however we feel best as a group. Also, I'm not working right now, so I have time. I'm working really hard in my own garden, but I do have time that I can contribute, and I'm happy to work. I have a lot of experience gardening. Used to work at Cascade Cuts, Bizu. So I feel like I have a good, I can be utilized in a lot of different ways. If Brian, if you guys need somebody to kind of be on the ground working, and I'm a volunteer coordinator. So anyway, those are my skills. And if you guys want to use me in those ways, feel free.
That's great. Thanks so much, Erin. I just wanted to chime in that Jenny did drop off a selection of seed here at Inspiration Farm. So if anybody in this part of the county needs some, they can come get some here as well. Okay. And I'm around most of the time.
Okay.
Brian, I need a bell in my head to remind me to record this session. So I did miss out the first 4 points you made, including my own. So do you mind repeating it just for everybody's sake and the recording?
Oh, goodness.
And I would also like to welcome User. User, could you identify yourself, please? Hello?
Hello?
I can't unmute this user, so I'm not sure. User, if you can identify yourself, please. I think user left. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So if you could, Brian, please, for the
okay. The main points or threads that I've heard kind of going along have been, getting knowledge and information out to people that have small yards and gardens so they can get their own thing going, and support that with seeds and mentors. within that program. Then the community gardens that are already established within the city, making full use of those and the structures they already have going, including Chestnut Center and there, you know, all these other little pea patch gardens that are everywhere. And then looking at larger tracts of land, either by private landowners or the city, like this Bakerview location, where we can do more staple crops or seed production in those locations. And then the fourth being looking at longer range goals of creating food forest and perennial, I'm going to ignore that, perennial, oh, where do I hit it? At the top. Okay. Perennial tree crops, nut crops, berry crops, fruit tree crops. And one thing I meant to mention, I'll talk to Nicole later, is that, so, you know, nut trees are high protein, high calorie commodities that don't create messes on the ground. And they don't take a lot of pruning and stuff. I mean, it's not like a sticky, gooey mess that you're going to get rats and bees and, you know, all these other things that they're concerned about on. They don't take nearly as much maintenance and they live for hundreds of years. So a lot of street trees used to be sweet chestnut trees back east before the chestnut blight happened. And now there's better cultivars. We could easily put street trees in as sweet chestnut trees, and they're a beautiful shade tree. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but pine nuts as well. Pine nuts are an amazing tree.
Right, tasty.
Yeah.
Right.
So
You know,
and then your fifth point was you can permitted growing areas in the city, which could include rooftops and public spaces. Yeah. Great.
Bizu, did you want to say?
Yes. Yeah, Brian, you know, Nicole, she was talking repeatedly to focus with the short-term plan. And yesterday I was trying to reach you about 3 times with the messenger. I don't have the phone number. But what are you thinking about this 4-acre? I am paying just $200 rent. I'm not, you know, Paul, he was just giving to me. And if you guys start right away with that land and you can have access with the greenhouse, you can use one of 2 greenhouse if we are really established very well. And you guys, are you interested? I'm willing, honestly. You know, I'm just telling you is what is in my heart.
Yeah, no, that's very generous.
And in the future we can discuss. But if I do that, I'm going to downsizing. And you know, if you guys really this community start growing or something, probably in the future, even if I can rent or if I am keeping as a cascade cut one of the greenhouse with a small scale, that was my desire even previously when I purchased this business, to open education center and to learn, to take it back some farmer to Ethiopia and to bring some people to can learn and to change it as a non-profit after next year. That was my plan. I have the name and everything. That was, I was thinking. Mm-hmm. You know, if you guys really, we can establish that one. I give a name and everything. I put Mama Bizu or Mama B, you know, or, you know, we can change it that if you want to. But I didn't really have the identity, but I have all things as I make it, but I need a group of people. And now I have lots of plants that we're okay now, we're selling a little bit. Also we can sell or we can give for community. They can, you know, they can get some donation to pay what is the line of credit is what I owe a little bit. But even though if it's not, I'm still owe it. I was trying to claim to economic disaster. If it's not, God knows what is next. But everything is ready. And you guys, if we can really seriously, we can talk and we can focus and we can establish things, and or the establishment what I start already. And if you guys want to continue that way and you start next door, that's next to the greenhouses, the 4-acre land.
Right.
And
So,
it is free. So what are you thinking? You know,
well,
I want to really present that for Nicole. I would like to do it with you guys. What do you think?
right. Well, I think it definitely has a lot of appeal because there's a lot less red tape involved with it. We can kind of hit the ground running. The city can still support in some ways,
Yeah.
with you know, getting the word out, or maybe maybe they have some funding available for things like that.
Yes.
I'm curious, did you, after one of our first meetings, you and Paul were going to get together and look at these pieces of property? Did that happen, and how did that go, and what did?
Yes, I went to his house. You know, I just drove that way and I talked to him. We had a meeting, maybe more than 1 hour or more, maybe 2. I asked permission for community if I can sell with social distance, to sell our flowers to the community to open. So all my community, they are willing. I'm just looking as volunteer, you know, to do that. Mm-hmm. Then I talked to the manager if we can get some seed, and there is no way we can find a seed right away, but it is, but we are open, you know. Then Paul, he was telling me, he told me that he want to work with Bellingham School or something like that. There is some organization.
Yeah.
He's working with them.
Common Threads.
Common Threads, yeah. Common Threads, and he's working with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if he wants involving with your dream and things and together, or he want to work with the city of Bellingham, I don't know. But me, I'm willing, and I would like to present for with you. That's why yesterday I called you 3 times.
Oh.
You know, we nail it, we plan, and we have to make it. If I can expand, that's another thing. If we are change it is another thing. I will keep at a small scale cascade, but I am willing to establish Mama B or Bellingham community things, you know, we can establish, and we can, Nicole, she doesn't want it at this time, broad idea, but when we start small and we're willing and we can grow, and growing, you know, asking communities, if we are private land, you know, if you ask, you know, about the business, and everything is involving with insurance. But with the insurance and other stuff, we can get a few things, but we can, you know, confidentially, we can sit down, you know, with distance or with this meeting, you know, we can focus in one thing, and how we're going to do. I think that is Nicole, she wanted. This is what my understanding. Maybe my English go sometimes awkward, but but this is what she focused. Then with the long term, you know, with the trees, with fruit trees, that is very important, you know. We can, once we maintain, once we have the seed, once we grow from cascade cut, this kind of things. I was trying to work before with a specific 5 trees with tissue culture from West Portland, you know, this kind of things. We can bring that tissue culture. They were, you know, making 3 times the income that how they did it. So if we can turn it as a non-profit, there is a germination room, there is a fridge, there is 12 greenhouse. And for me, I am paying about $3,700 mortgage. I can pay it from my own for a while. Now they give me free until October. I don't have to pay. But if we start with one of the greenhouse and we establish and we continue, and 4.5 acres is free. There is a water access, there is electric access, and everything is open.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm willing.
That's very generous. We need to then probably move forward and look at, I need to look at the site and see what needs to happen. You know, if it needs to get brush hogged and raked, I don't know if it's all grass, tall grass, raked, tilled, fenced possibly.
It
There's
is. Do
probably
you
a
want
lot
to
of
come
deer.
and see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to see it, Bizu, and see what part of the property you're talking about.
Yeah, Jen, you've been working here before, that's right? You know it.
I'm familiar with that property for sure.
Right, yeah.
So there's definitely some wet areas, you know, so be looking at your slope and your access, where the deer corridors are. Paul actually said he just got something like 7,000 feet of deer fencing delivered to his place the other day. So he said he has extra deer fencing.
I imagine.
You know, if you guys, you start willing and you conquer, this is the place, this is what we're going to do, then the fund, I don't think this is a problem, because Bellingham people, I see a lot of generosity people they are doing. And where I am today, also I got a lot of help.
Yeah,
And
I think we could even pitch it to like hardware sales. They have tractor rentals and everything, and say this is a community effort. They might just, you know, donate tractor rental, and we just get it done.
Yep.
Right, and you know, let's nail it. You know, there is a land available, there is an access. You guys, if we can find any, you know, labor, anything you want to do, establish and just start. I think this is it. I'm thinking this way. This is not going to affect my business for now, because there is a land, I never use it for the last 2 years, even before. And you guys, you can start, and there is an access. Also, if there is a way that we can establish on the side and growing, and I'm willing.
Yeah, and I would say as far as greenhouse space, like for a lot of things, it's getting kind of late to even consider doing starts. Maybe cucumbers and squash, maybe, would be the only things that I can think of right off the bat. The rest, it all gets direct seeded into the field. But looking at maybe ways that you can shift into tree propagation, chestnuts, heart nuts, butternuts, filberts, pine nuts, all of those things. I mean, that's typically you collect seed or get seed in the fall, and then it overwinters, and then you'll have those next spring. So that might be something to look at.
Yeah, I may not do it at this time as a business, as I would, because with the employee what I have in the manager, because we are kind of new, and my manager, he was taking over from Paul, and they were doing that. So for me, it's going to be a challenge as a business to start. But as I told you, as a community, you guys, you want to volunteer, you want to do something, my space, my heart is open.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe we set a time and we can get together.
Yeah, if you want to come, and I'm here today all evening, if you want to drive by, or if you want to come tomorrow, just come and we'll discuss. You know, with distance, we can talk. Maybe that's a better way. You can see the place. And Jenny also, you can come together if you want to, Baron. You guys come and, you know, then you can just solid write proposal. We can start doing it, and I will be a part of it and board, and I'm going to be with you.
Yeah, and I'd like to get find a time where Paul can be there as well.
Cool. Yeah.
Do we all have each other's phone numbers so that we can maybe more efficiently coordinate a time that we can be there together?
Yeah, Paul doesn't respond well to phones. Email's better for him.
Okay.
So,
how about instant messenger? Does that work forever, you think?
I think like Facebook message.
Yeah, that message.
It does. I mean, I don't think it works for Paul. I never.
He doesn't do Facebook. Yeah, he doesn't have a Facebook account.
No, he does. He just never uses it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But yeah, like text message could work better, or email.
Can you, Brian? It's Heather. Can you
Hi,
share
Heather.
Paul's email and phone number?
Okay, let me just let me find.
You could chat it in if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna chat it in.
I just sent it to you, mine.
Erin, are you on Instant Messenger?
Yes. Well, yes.
What names are you under that? Are you?
Erin McCain Anderson.
Okay.
Aaron, your number or your email?
My email is emcaineanderson, no hyphen, @gmail. And I can write it.
Yeah. Could you write that, please?
I'm looking a salesperson, if you guys know also.
Okay. So for those who are here, when's a good day to meet at Bizu's place to have a look at that land?
Well, I'm going to be at the center Tuesdays and Fridays now, 10 to 2. So I'm driving. I live in Ferndale, so I'm driving in from town then. So before 10 or after 2 on Tuesdays and Fridays would be ideal for me. But like I said, I'm not working and I'm pretty open. So just let me know what works for you guys.
Yeah, tomorrow could possibly work for me. I mean, I have flexible schedule, but I'm very busy. So
yeah.
Okay. So keep that in mind.
I'm available tomorrow.
Okay.
Should we try for tomorrow at like 8 or something in the morning? Or
does anybody know what Paul is doing on a daily basis?
I am scheduled to meet with Paul. He sent this whole thing to, he put together a pretty in-depth proposal and sent it to the mayor, and I forwarded it to Nicole, and we're gonna talk probably tomorrow and kind of flesh out some of these ideas. And but that wasn't scheduled until tomorrow evening.
Okay.
So he said he's pretty busy too. I mean, we're all trying to get stuff in the ground.
Yeah. So maybe an early morning meeting would be a good thing. Do you want to reach out to him, Brian?
Yeah, I have. I asked him specifically. Early mornings are hard for him because he has a young kid and they're bouncing off the walls in the morning.
Okay.
So
he knows the place, unless for the discussion, maybe we need him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like him to be there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just let us know. I just feel like the sooner the better.
Yeah.
But whatever works for you, you know, Brian and Paul. And
yeah.
Well, I feel like if we want to get a proposal down really succinctly, so like the city knows, like what Nicole said, it's like make it clear, make it simple.
Right.
Have you know, your immediate goals and then some stretch goals. But if we have that together, then the city can maybe help put out some information. Maybe we can get some articles in the Bellingham Herald or maybe some news, radio interviews that talk more about this, that get it out to a wider public. And then also we can use that to solicit donations and stuff from other organizations around Whatcom County.
Okay.
It makes it legit and it's a real thing. And right now, it's like all these ideas floating around.
Right. Right. It helps us narrow it down.
Yep.
So I would like to volunteer to do that. I'm good at PR. I'm good at reaching out to donors or to radio stations and the Herald. I'd love to take that on.
Yeah. So we can maybe get you kind of our proposal, and then you can make it press worthy or PR worthy. And then reach out to them and go from there.
And Bizu, I'd like to help you write something to Nicole, because I know yours is kind of specific. You're hoping that maybe the city has a fund, and she did talk about a grant for your pollinator plants, specifically for maybe existing parks. They
can come and they can visit. You know, we are sending to Alaska, and we're sending, even though less, we are giving to Spokane, while we can do that for our community here. You know, if they have some fund, or if I give them even discount, if they don't have fund, I don't want to see that plant is dying in my greenhouse.
Right. Yeah, we
And
should, that
I
should
like
never
community
happen.
to use it.
No.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
to community to use it, whatever they can donation they can, and even if we can make it this rush and before Mother's Day, even community, to make it bright things, for our community. I'm willing to go to work out. I know one way or another I will pay my loan. That's what I have a hope.
Yeah.
But I don't want to really, if it is really community need. When I see yesterday about Texas, somebody was sending to me when I was a little kid. I know in Ethiopia there is a lot of starvation. It's not going to happen because it's always America have prevention plan, but we can make a difference in our community. We can make a difference where we are. We are not a warlord or we are not leaders or something for the country, but whatever we can make the community where we are, we can make a difference. And I like, Paul, your idea because you are a visionary. When you see that, the place where I grow, when I came from school to home, there is on the road avocado trees, orange trees, fruit trees, and we just grab and we eat. And, I see what you are saying and how, and the coffee tree, it was on the street. So if we study what is really Bellingham need to grow or something, can happen. Yeah. Before wasting this apple tree or something, the community, we can do something that is going to be longer term before spoiling on the road or something like that. I can see also Nicole, how she think further, but this is really a big asset for community, what you're talking. I just love it. I can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like next steps are figuring out a time we can meet at Cascade Cuts to check out the property, and then Vern, you're going to do some promotion and marketing. Is that what it sounds like? Put together a plan?
Yes.
And then we'll go from there? Or is there a step in there that I'm missing?
No, that sounds really good. I'm thinking realistically, it's probably going to be Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
By the time, we can love to get Paul on board with that, and then have some time to give to it. So I'm kind of busy the next couple of days, pretty full, but.
Okay, well, it's supposed to start raining, right? So that's
yay!
Rain. So that will be good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heather here. It would be helpful for me if the parks gal Nicole put some of her offerings in writing. I wonder if Vern, you're willing to email her or ask her, or should I do that?
Would you like to?
I will try to do that.
I think it's a good idea because then that way we can work within her parameters.
Yeah, I'm more of a visual person taking in her information, and it was a little, I just realized it'd be really helpful to have it in writing so we can refer to it in the future.
Right.
Yeah, and I've been trying to visualize how to really kickstart utilizing this hashtag Co-op Gardens initiative. That's a nationwide initiative, and I think some kind of little really simple write-up, and they have a bunch of information on their website that we can glean from, but to put out a little press release and get that to Nicole, because really that's her main thrust, is getting local small scale yards into production.
Right.
And the hashtag Co-op Gardens does that both with seeds and with mentorship and with people that have space, with people that want space. It's kind of the network, that the glue that can hold it together. But if people don't know it's there or how to use it, then it won't get utilized to the fullest.
Okay. All right.
Brian, I just look forward I'm going to sign off. Brian, just get in touch with me about when it works for you guys to go to Cascade Cut.
Yes, I will keep you in the loop.
Okay. Bye, guys. Thanks.
Bye, Erin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for jumping in.
Brian, I'm pretty flexible.
Okay.
Brian, I prefer afternoon, evenings, but I yield to y'all's schedule. I'm also interested in walking the end of that Purview property. I'm not Parks property. I'm not really sure the location. I think it would be helpful for us to know what that sounded like long-term.
Yeah, it's right next to where Bakerview Nursery is. And there is a resident with a tenant there at this time. So it's not really, I don't think we can walk the property necessarily.
Is it mountainside or waterside?
You can look at it in Google Earth. I have a map of it that Paul Kearsley pulled up on the City IQ. I don't know.
Maybe send me a link sometime. Is it mountainside of Bakerview or?
No, south side.
Oh, south side.
South side, it wraps around Bakerview Nursery.
Okay, and that's where she was referring to access needed to be given from the current My Nursery. Okay.
Yeah, let me just see if I try this again.
So that is my garden, close to my garden.
Yeah, it's closer to Guide Meridian.
Yeah, that they call my garden. Now they change it to Bakerview Nursery. That's the one. Okay.
Yeah, pretty sure that's what we're talking about. And Bizu, did you get in regards to your request for a referral to a salesperson, did you get the communication about Lynn, who happens to work at My Garden right now and is also connected in with us as community gardeners? She's really good.
What's her name?
Let me look it up.
Yeah.
Bizu, did you get the messenger link?
Not yet. I didn't look at it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up for you.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not letting me screen share until I quit this whole thing.
Yeah, my Zoom has gone a bit crazy. I can't see anybody. In fact, it's off inviting me to join a meeting, and so I'm scared to hit that. I'll lose you all.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, the property it's 29 acres. Looks like over half of it is forested, but there's one chunk.
That's a big one, yeah.
Yeah.
So how much land is farmable, gardenable?
It looks like at least 10 acres.
Wow, that's big. That's very nice.
And I would imagine there's water there. I think Nicole just said no water because, you know, there's water to the residences. It has Bakerview Road frontage. It has agricultural outbuildings all over. So
okay. Here.
You know, it is a very good idea to start small, as she said, and we continue working. There is only 5 minute distance from Cascade Cuts, Bakerview, not even 5 minutes.
Yeah, right.
So if it starts small and still pursuing that Bakerview is going to be a great idea.
Okay.
Okay, I've got to sign off and get on with some.
Thank you, Brian.
Things, but we will be in touch shortly.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Good to hear you guys.
You too, probably.
Yeah.
Bizu, can you hold on? I just don't
Sure.
leave yet.
Okay.
Heather, thank you so much.
Thank you, Heather.
Yes, and the name for Bizu's request for a salesperson is Lynn Loveland.
Lynn?
The chat. And Bern, I had attempted to do a messenger to connect Lynn with you and Bizu. That's
Would you please, really, I'm looking, you know, we have about 700,000 worth of plants in the greenhouse.
Yeah. So I know that I saw that you had connected us, but I didn't respond because I expected Bizu had responded. But I think she's a bit overwhelmed, and maybe
I don't look, yeah.
I can also jump in and just monitor it as the conversation gets going and help her to respond if she hasn't.
Yeah, that would be great. I just want you to know that Lynn's well trusted and loved and gifted, and
Wow, that's
yeah,
beautiful.
I reached out to her one-on-one, and she was about to see if she had time in her life, and she gave a positive response, but was really clear it would just be for sales, not for hands-on potting up. She's
Okay.
so there's your lead, and
That anyway, you can give her my number too, please. I put my number there. Also my.
Okay, I will do
Please.
that.
Thank you,
Email
Heather.
personally. I think she probably would need an outreach from you or somebody else to show interest to have a conversation with her. I don't think she.
I'm very happy to get her
Her
number.
name is Lynn.
Lynn
Okay.
Love.
Okay, I see the group here. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just change the name of the group so that for the sake of Bizu, she spots it easily. Oh, I'm not an administrator, but you could do that. Am I?
Yeah, she created the group, Bern. Oh, you mean, oh, I know. You mean the little one. Sure.
Yeah, the 4 of them. If you
I will
would,
change the name. I'll
thank
think
you.
of something.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, so that Bizu can identify it easily. So salesperson for Cascade, maybe? I don't know.
Yes. Okay, I will talk to her. If I get her number, I will call her or I will messenger.
Yeah, okay.
Baron, do you have time that if you want, you can talk to her too?
I do, yeah.
Right,
Let me just,
okay,
I need a
please.
bathroom. I need a bathroom break. If you could just pause.
Okay.
Thank
Goodbye.
you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Okay, bye.
It'll take me a while to shut my gadgets down.
No problem. You can be there. Okay, I'm going to bathroom break.
I might just mute and work and listen in.
Okay.
Okay, it's this, Heather, I'm going to mute, but I'm going to work on those tasks while I just listen in the back.
Hi, Bizu.
Hey.
That was a very good meeting, wasn't it?
Very nice, yeah.
Very excited. Things are moving.
I think, yeah, Nicole, she was saying the same thing.
Yeah. So it's good with them. But for you, I want to help you with your letter to Nicole, your email.
Can you start right now? How many hours you have? I want you to work for me. Let me talk with the regular phone.
Okay, you want to get on the regular phone. But
right. Yeah.
Call me on Instant Messenger. We'll use the camera as well.
Okay.
Okay, take care. Hey, Heather. Ciao.
Oh, okay. Ciao. Goodbye, you guys. I will do those tasks, those many tasks. And so Bizu, look for your email. And just one moment. I think, Bern, I should write your email down. I don't know if
let me put it on the chat. Did I?
Could you just tell it to me?
Sure. Bern, BERN dot ZUZARTE. And you know, I can even text you on the messenger,
Okay. At,
gmail.com.
okay. Super. Woohoo.
Yay.
Oh, and here's one other thing. Sometimes when the meetings are starting and I notice certain, garden permaculture leaders, knowledge people aren't present, I'll start messaging them privately and saying, hey, this is what's happening, sign on. That's how I got Erin
Thank
on.
you for doing that.
Yeah, and then even a few meetings ago, I happened to messenger Seth that first meeting, and he jumped on. So sometimes in the middle of the meeting, if you see somebody jumping in that's really quiet, it might be somebody I said, join in, listen, we're in the middle of the meeting, but you should be part of this. So I did do that today with Krista Rome and
I know Krista would have
Bruce.
identified herself, but I don't know who user was. And
that was another gardener, permaculture teacher, Spruce, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no worries. Okay, bye, you guys.
Bye. Bye, Heather. Thank you.